Alright YouTube, one of the nagging problems I've had on this since day one, and I knew about it since the day I bought it, is that this door doesn't close right. And so today we're going to start addressing that. So if you look at this door closely, you can see that that upper pin looks like the hinge pin itself is worn. It looks like maybe the top pin is bent down a little bit, and the same way with this pin here is it looks like from relative to the top to the bottom here, it looks like it's bent forward. Now this is that pin is on the door as I'm moving it here. So the idea here is if we tweak this straight, maybe this bottom one, the top a little bit back, we might be able to get this door to close. And you can see there's an interference fit going on right along here, and you pull like the dickens and push like the dickens, you can still close this from the outside, but boy, you can't do it from the inside. So anyway, this door's got to get sorted out. But for now, I want to get this door off so that I can start trying to puzzle out how to best bend these pins. Action Star Mark came by. I'm gonna rig this thing so it doesn't fall, so the plan goes. Meanwhile, Jim Brussels the Anaconda, one of my subscribers pointed that out to me. How come it's always Mark doing work? Well, oh, these things that you'll never see me do ever again.
You know I trust?
You?
Myself.
All right. Now that you look at it, you can see how this top is relatively bent. How you did that?
It's pretty lined up, though.
You know, I'm wondering if I could just, hey, hang tight. I'm wondering, I'm guessing the bottom is closer to the top. So what I'd like to do slide this pipe over the top of that wrench and tweak the top back just a bit. Yeah. You think you can climb up there and be in charge of that while I'm in charge of, like, yep, too far is not enough? That's the Heinecker installation tool. So, alright, hang on. Gotta give it a tweak. Oh, it moved easily. Yeah, hang on. Let me just take this off for a moment and kind of give it a look. It looks pretty square to my eye. I don't think we have to fiddle around with this until I get the door started out. But now that I know how we can bend this, maybe we can just bend it right here and put the pins back in. Yeah. You know what I mean? I know that this one's not square, so what I want to do is take this whole shebang again. Okay. Got it. And I like how it's going to kind of stay on its own. Yeah, I'm going to have you adjust that right. I'm wondering if I should try bending this from the bottom, because it was the bottom that was bent.
It's not gonna matter. Okay, do it again. There you go. I didn't do much.
Yeah. Let's take it. Maybe a little more. It doesn't take much.
Oh, no.
Well, with a 4-foot breaker bar, I guess. Why don't we try hanging it and see if it's any better? Well, let's try closing this thing. So we're heating, you can see it's right there, huh? And over the other. It's hitting down here first. I told you. Oh, it's getting closer, isn't it? If I go get a grease marker, we can make a pattern and see it just like we're doing teeth on a rear differential, you know what I mean? Here. Alright, I'll bend that out a little bit more.
It's not terrible. I'd let it go and just keep banging the thing and it'll slowly work its way out. You know?
Well, the fact that the darn door closes now, that's better. Hey YouTube, so behind me here, I've pulled the steering pins on out. After kind of looking at them, those two pins in the rear is where most of the slop is. And what's happening here is under load, when turning and a little bit of off camber or something, you'll get a big clunk out of these things. And driving down the road, you're kind of like a drunken cockroach trying to stay straight anyway. So I decided that I should fix that. And let me show you what we're up to. Okay, so the stock pins, they've got a flag welded onto them, and all that flag does is it locates the pin and holds the pin in. There's a bolt that comes in here. And the pins themselves are worn smaller than they should be on the ears of where the front, I guess it would be the rear, where the rear of the machine connects on these steering things. On the steering cylinders. And then if you run your finger over here, you can definitely feel where the eyelet of the ram goes around, the bushing goes around. This is worn too. And so what we're ending up here is with a lot of slop. And so the pin itself has slop, the bushing has slop, and unfortunately all the slop is cumulative on this type of steering. So a little bit of slop here, plus the little bit of slop there, plus the little bit of slop there, and what you feel then, or the operator feels then, is a big clunk. And they're bad. Anyway, and so thankfully I have a machinist who doesn't want to have his name broadcast on YouTube. I have a machinist neighbor literally just down the road. And so we had to do some guessing and bagoshing on what size to make everything, simply because if you take a measurement here, it's one size, and you take it there, it's another size, and you take it there, it's another size. If I was a professional shop, I'd run some kind of hone or some kind of put on a fixture so I could make perfectly round to whatever size I need it to be, and then we could make everything really, really tight. But in this case, we're kind of guessing. So we went with a 2-inch pin, but by the time it got finished, it came down to 1997 or something like that. So 3/1000, a little smaller than what we wanted to. And the new bushings, we machined those. All right, we. By we, I mean not me. The machinist neighbor, he machined them. So there's a 5/1000 inch tolerance in here, which you can perceive it with. It rattles a little bit, by the time you pound the grease in, that it should be inconsequential. And we machined the outsides of these so that I'm going to have to stick these into the freezer to shrink them down and then tap them in. And so we're kind of, again, guessing. The bushings that we took out have an outer diameter of 3 inches, what was it? 3 inches and 1/8, or 3/8, excuse me, 375. And so these got machined to 377. So figuring sticking them in the freezer will shrink them down enough to pound them in, and then I'll let them warm up so that we can accept the pin going through them. And I'm also going to use 660 Loctite, which is kind of a bonding unit that if there is any slop on the outside of this bushing, that bonding agent should hopefully attempt to take that up. It hardens up to kind of like it's Loctite's version of liquid metal. Okay, so that's what it is. It is made for this kind of thing, and so anyway, I'm going to stick that on into the eyelet of the ram. I'm going to start moving this thing in there, pounding it in there, and then once it's up on here, I'll put another run on the outside of this bushing and pound it in, and then hopefully any voids that are between this bushing's outer diameter and the eyelet's inner diameter will get taken up by the liquid metal, and it'll form a nice tight non-moving section there. So that's the plan. My machinist neighbor was kind enough, just to see how hard it was, to grind out this flag, and so I've yet to take off the other flag, but I'm going to grind out this flag the same way, and then I'm going to weld it on to the back side of this. Incidentally, the metal chose to use to make these pins out is 4130, simply because it's pretty easily to weld, and we got to weld these flags on. And then the metal, talking to my brother who does the foundry work, what kind of yellow metal is this? Well, after talking to him, he's finally got around asking, is it slightly magnetic? And it is. And if it's slightly magnetic, well, that means it's manganese bronze. And so going out to McMaster Car, what is it, 863 bronze is their manganese bronze. And so we ordered a tube, and my neighbor simply machined the inside and the outside of the tube. And boy, what a magnificent job he did. So anyway, we're going to get to doing some grinding. We're going to grind this weld out, and then we're going to weld on both these flags to the new pins. The new bushings are already in the freezer getting chilly, so that's where they're going to go. I think that's good enough right there, just like that. Neighborhood machinist did a good job of clearing that out. Thank you. Okay, so I'm coming in here with my liquid metal retaining compound. Hopefully before this stuff hardens up, it'll also provide a little lubricant for sliding in here. I had to take a hone to the top of these ends of the cylinders because they had a lip on them. I presume the lip is there, I don't know, from a prior hammering out. Like I said, I think these have been replaced at least once before. So I measured these things, and they shrunk. Okay, will you stay there? They shrunk down to 3.375, and I'm also installing new, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but new rope O-rings to hold the grease in. And let's see here if we can get this kind of snuck in there. Right, I gotta push that cylinder back just a smidge. Let me go get the world's biggest pry bar. Pry barring, you know what I mean? Oh, there we go. is one. Mental note, remember to lube these. Something else I've neglected to share with you, but I am doing is I'm putting those holes in that zerk, or the bushing, 90 degrees from where the zerk is, so the grease is forced to flow around and about. Now this was the easy one. This was the one I expected to be kind of loose. All right, let's tighten this rascal down. Okay. And just so others can see this if they ever look, you can see this is I've stamped this the left side, and today is the 9th, and so I've stamped in here the date that I did this, so the next guy, or me, when I forget, kind of remembers, oh yeah, that's when I did it. Anyway, there it is on the left side. Now for the right side. Okay, where are the holes? We'll put the holes like this. Here we are again, YouTube. We're back at this. Version 2. We're trying to get this thing to go here. Oh, I sure wish I had a bearing driver, though. I really do. Go. I'd love to be able to whale on this thing. Like and killed myself yet. Almost. I think one more and we're good. Yeah, I think we're a little driven past now, if anything. All right. Well, I'm not going to be able to get this all lined up by myself. I need another set of eyeballs, and as you can see, I've turned it slightly, the cylinder. That's no big deal. I can just stick something in there. Doesn't feel like I've egged it all too bad. I might have to take a little bit of a hone right on that edge. At any rate, YouTube, I've been slowly going along replacing all of these rubber snubbers that retain the grease on the loader, and so I'm working my way up. So now I'm on the big center pivot, and this is kind of what I'm replacing. You see, these guys are really sagged out, and you take that off and it appears to be a much bigger pin than what this guy here is, you know what I mean? So anyway, I might just have to wait for a second person to come over and help me with this. Now off camera, I got it on there with brute force, so it can be done. Well, all right, now that I know it can be done, I'm going to go for this side where it can more be done. Okay, hopefully everything's in view. Okay, so I cut the old one off and I got the new one here. And just in an attempt to make it a little slippier, I'm going to hit it with some silicone spray, which will probably dry immediately. But let's sneak it in there. Come on. On this hose here has got a bunch of exposed wires. It's another one of these bad hoses, but it's on the third function, so I'm not worried about it yet. All right, well, how I did this before, and I just misplaced my wrench, so I went and grabbed another one. Come on, get on there. Oh, gee. Come on. Oh, yeah. Quick, try to... get a wrench on it there, yay! There we go. Oh, that's way more fiddling around than you would ever think, YouTube. Two more done, yay! I am the master of misplacement. In a normal day, I lose and find more things than people normally lose and find in a week, perhaps even a month. Anyway, I just found where I put my other wrench. Hey YouTube, MinnesotaEric here. So today, we're gonna fix something that's just been, I don't know, it's been bugging me. On either side of my payloader, I've got these fun little spring-loaded J-hooks, and they're near impossible to find, but 3 of them got wiped out. I think a prior owner used this thing to drive it through a building to knock it over. Anyway, because I'm trying to it's hard to explain how these things could get wiped out. But 3 out of the 4, there's 2 supposed to be on either side, didn't make it. And over the last winter, I found 3 of them with a Komatsu part number in Israel, and I bought them. So in the springtime, I ground off well, I'll tell you what, let me tell you how they're held on. It's a little interesting. See these pan head? These are like a U-drive screw. It's a hammer screw. They're also called hammer rivets or hammer screws. Anyway, they must be like number 14, number 16s, the biggest they get for what they are, considering how big the holes are. And so this spring I ground the things off flush, and I removed the destroyed spring-loaded J-clip handle here, and I just didn't have a real good way to punch these things in. Well, I bought a special anvil for an air hammer and forgot about it. You know, today's a nice day, so here we are. I just got done pushing these things in, and now I'm going to try to just use a manual chisel and push them in, and I'm going to try to mount this with rivets or something, or maybe just bolts and screws. So we'll see how this works out. I kind of started it with the air hammer, but I don't want to really mess things up. Oh, I'm going to have to hit this. There you go, there's one. See if we can't get the other one to go. Come on. I got the other one out. Hey YouTube, so I decided I'd tell you what, while I'm here, these are the 4 bolt holes that would have been used for fenders, and I doubt I'm ever going to be putting fenders up, so I thought, what the heck, why not grind this off a little bit, put some copper or ceramic behind here, and just fill these holes up before I put on this fun little thing, so I don't, anyway, it seems easier to do everything when it's flush. I have no words today. I haven't spoken to anybody all day long. so I'm not used to talking. This is a phenomenon. As you get older, you'll learn, and if you are my age, you already know, so I don't have to explain it. This Bondo here, crazy. Somehow this has gotten bent, and again, I think somebody drove this poor machine through a building. Maybe it had fenders at the time. Yeah, it's crazy that they would have done that. Bondo! A big dent here. What is this? This is 1/4 inch plate. I'm not going to easily take this out, so I'm going to let that buck. I wonder what kind of lousy weld I can do with all this wind, huh? Find out. A bunch of rusted Bondo in these holes. I'm going to try to clean them up without drilling through the battery. The battery's right behind here. Maybe a little bigger hole. Alright, a little bigger, I think. So just want to make sure I got some clean metal to weld to. Oops. Oops. Come on. All right. A little tighter. For context, here's, not much of a gap there. So, but the idea here is that steel won't stick to copper or ceramic, so stick some kind of something back there to give you something to build up against. And I'll come in here and weld, and with this wind, it's probably going to be a little porous, but with the MIG gun, I'll have the kind of control I need to have. And if it's a little porous, that's fine. All I'm doing is filling up a hole, and it's nothing structural, so I don't mind if I do give it a farm weld. Okay, so I've a ground here, so I have a known good ground, and now it's just a matter of trying to do that button weld. I'm trying to figure out where to put the camera now. There we go. I can grind that flat. Still a little below the... I'm going to add a little bit more material here. Okay. You see how porous that is? That just got there? That's the wind. First weld was actually pretty good. The wind got that one, but okay. Hey, I can grind all these flat. I'm satisfied with the result. That's all right. Again, it's that piece of copper that's doing the magic. Okay, well, after grinding down everything, I got a little bit more porosity than I'm willing to accept. So get up here. So I'm going to come back and redress all 4 of these. Just come back and quick skim coat it and with the welder, so to speak. And then I'll grind off the excess. Yeah, just almost got this one perfect, except for you can't. Yeah, you can't tell. Anyway, it is what it is. Start up here. All right. God, that's porous too. The wind is shifty. There. Good. Now, all right, we'll find out. Maybe it's just time to punt. You know what? Maybe it's just time to punt. Yep. Close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades. I'm working outside with a MIG. And I don't have a windscreen. Okay, so now we get out our old friend, cold galvanizing compound. If it sticks to docks in the lake, it'll stick to this. So, and I've taken off my glasses because, well, you know, I don't want to paint them. Things happen. Things occur. I'm looking at what I'm doing with my hand, not with the camera, so I apologize, YouTube, if I'm not following around. the paint sprayer. Anyway, we'll let that dry, and I think I'm going to go do the other side, just because I got everything out, and it's a nice day. Well, YouTube, I think I got a little luckier with these welds because the wind's coming off the lake. You can see the trees bouncing around behind me, but yeah, they got porosity, but it's nothing like I expected it to be. So I'll grind those out and paint them. And the dog's going to keep playing fetch because that's what the dog does. Okay, after grinding down the welds, they didn't turn out too bad. I'm going to paint this, and I guess because it's getting towards dark, I'm going to wrap up. So, and I don't have enough rivets anyway, so this is going to be a multi-day project, I guess, by accident. Everything I do is multi-day. Alright, YouTube, it's the next day, and I just got back, sadly, from a friend's celebration of life. And along the way, I picked up some broadhead pop rivets, 3/16, and we're going to see how these work here. They aren't quite the same. The OEM ones are like a straight hook, right? So I think what I'm going to do here is just bend this out a little bit. Get a couple of pliers and bend them out. When I first bought this, fixing those battery cover things was one of the bucket list things. I said, I gotta find these things and fix them and weld up the bolt holes where the fenders used to mount. And so this is one of the original things I wanted to fix, and here we are. One more to go. Well, that's it, YouTube. Mission accomplished. I'm super happy with the result. I literally had to search the world over for these spring-loaded clasps. These came out of Tel Aviv, Israel. I picked them up sometime this winter I found them. I only had 3, and all I needed was 3 because, well, we still had this one. But anyway, hey, if you like what you see, then give the video a thumbs up. And if you want to see more randomness, then by all means, subscribe and comment if you know something that I don't. Thanks a lot. Till we meet again. Bye-bye. Till we meet again, YouTube. Bye-bye.